So if it's okay, Mr. Secretary, I'd like to share a few thoughts at this time. The Secretary has said it's okay. So when I look around at this room, this is always my very favorite part of any convention. I mean, look around. Take a minute and look around, literally look around. And you are the people who do the work in this state. Your work is essential, every one of you. You teach, you serve in so many ways, you make things, you take people places, you heal people, you ship things, you fix things, you make things go, you power things. And it's amazing to look at all of us together. And today, this week, you come together as the Texas labor movement to learn, to strategize, to build a movement that can literally change the world. You could be anywhere right now. You could be in the water park. But you choose to be here with your fellow workers around the state. And that's so powerful to me. That is the most powerful thing to me, that working people are coming together, believing that through our own collective action we can make a difference. That is so amazing to me, and I get to sit here and look at y'all and feel that together. So take a second and look. Feel your connections, feel your power, feel your unity. Feel that we are part of the labor movement together. It's an amazing thing. And what a moment it is that we come together. We're living in a moment that has so much potential, but also a moment with very real danger. And what we do in this convention and what we do in this moment will define our future and define our legacy. So let's talk for just a second about the potential. Union popularity has not been this high for the last 50 years. Am I right or wrong? People who we never thought would be part of this union movement are standing up and forming their unions. People understand that they're getting screwed, that the rules are rigged against them. They've always understood that. We've always understood that. But what's different is that now people are seeing that there's a way to change that, a way to create a better future. And that's by organizing together in our workplaces around the state. And we're seeing amazing organizing victories around the state. Amazing organizing victories. Workers in places that have never even heard the word union are winning their union right now. We're going to be highlighting some of that throughout the convention. I can't avoid the fact that the nurses are sitting right here, have formed their union in Austin, the largest union in the history of Texas. And we're going to be hearing a lot more about that because one of our themes is organize and rise. And so we want people to be clear that it's no mystery that you stand with your fellow workers and you can organize and win power. And we're seeing powerful strikes and job actions and threatening strikes and workers winning. And we saw the Teamsters bring UPS to the table and win a victory for those workers. And we're seeing everywhere that direct action by workers is literally changing the rules of our economy. And it shows this, that the way things are is not the way things need to be, that we have the power to change that, brothers and sisters. All right. Hotel workers, SAG-AFTRA, communication workers, you go down the IBEW, steel worker, everybody is understanding now the organizing that has to take place, that we can take on the biggest corporations and we can win. So we're going to be talking a lot about that in the next few days, not to entertain ourselves, but to understand what's necessary to really change this state. And we're going to talk about what is our role. What is our role? We're in unions, right? What is our role to reach out and help others who don't have this privilege? What is our role as the Texas AFL-CIO to support the strikes, to support the contract actions, to support the organizing, to show up at the picket line? Because here's the thing, when we go around the picket lines, it's an amazing experience. And when you stand on a picket line, you understand that those workers who are putting it all on the line, yes, they're doing it for their families, but when they do that for all of us. They do that for all of us because what they win and what they show is possible ripples throughout our entire economy. And so it's up to us, when somebody puts themselves on the line, to be there for them as well. So we're going to talk a lot about that. That's why we created the Texas AFL-CIO Organizing Task Force, to really focus our work on what we can do to organize. And there's another area of incredible potential, and that has to do with climate jobs. You know, energy industry has fueled our state and sustained livelihoods for decades, and will continue to do so. But it's becoming clearer and clearer that we have to do something about our planet. The heat, the hurricanes, the floods, the world is changing. And we can either watch it or we can engage and direct it and actually lead. And what that means is putting workers and workers' interests at the very center of the conversation about what we do about climate change. Why not? It's workers who feel the brunt of the climate change. It's workers who feel the brunt of the economic transition brought about by climate change. It's poor and working class communities that flood the quickest, that are the slowest to get help. And there are communities all across Texas where plants have shut down and communities have faded away because workers didn't have the power to shape our own future. It's unacceptable that those who have literally powered this state have become sacrificial lambs in many cases to corporate America as we transition to an energy economy. But there is a different way. Entirely new industries are being born at a record pace. Solar, wind, offshore wind, hydrogen, geothermal. There's going to be literally hundreds of thousands of new jobs that are going to be created in our new economy. New technologies are going to be developed that will allow us to save and improve many of the energy jobs that we have now. There is literally an industrial revolution happening in our very midst. And here's the question. Are these going to be union jobs? Are these going to be jobs that support families? Or are they going to be low-road, low-wage jobs? And that's why we created the Texas Climate Jobs Project. 3 years ago, we were fighting each other over candidates, dividing ourselves. But now, we're organizing together for a union energy future. Instead of fighting with each other over candidates and fighting over pipelines, we're working together to build pipelines of opportunity, to make sure that the energy future is a union future. And we're going to be talking a lot about that over the next few days as well. But even with this opportunity, there is danger at this very moment as well. Unfortunately, Greg Abbott, Dan Patrick, and the Texas legislature have declared a war on workers and on workers' rights. They passed House Bill 2127, which is the most radical transfer of power from local communities to politicians in Austin that this state has ever seen. Can you imagine passing legislation that actually strips construction workers of their right to take a break in the Texas sun? Amen. Or to take away paid sick leave benefits with the stroke of their pen. But that's exactly what they did. Literally passed a law that made it illegal for cities to provide requirements that workers get a rest break. And they're actually working to make sure that jobs in this state are low wage. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. They try and repeal prevailing wage. They try and outlaw project labor agreements. The federal government passed a rule that said that federal contractors have to make $15 an hour. What did the state of Texas do? I'm not kidding. They literally filed a lawsuit in federal court to undo the rise in minimum wage for federal contractors, literally trying to lower the wages of thousands of workers in Texas. That's not what I think my government should be doing. So if we're going to be able to build the kind of movement we want to build for all workers in Texas, we have to be engaged in politics. We have to make our voice bigger. We have to make our voice stronger. We know we can win when we do that. We see on the federal level the massive investments with strings attached that make sure that these are union jobs. We see in Texas, we saw the firefighters win pass a bill that get it signed that would require cities to actually negotiate and come to a contract with firefighters so that they are not stuck without a raise for 10 years without collective bargaining. We've seen that. Congratulations to the firefighters, by the way. So we know it's possible, but here's the thing. We know it's not enough because our power doesn't come from those laws. Those laws come from our power. There's not a law in existence that gives us any power that we haven't won for ourselves. And that's why we have to continue to organize, continue to fight, continue to grow. But here's the thing. The other side knows that too. They know that when we're united, we can fundamentally change things. And that's why they continue to spend so much time trying to divide us and scare us. And I want to talk about two things. One is immigration. We've seen the deadly consequences of state leaders vilifying immigrants, using language like invasion to refer to people who are just seeking a better life, appealing to overt racism. And now we see state leaders literally installing death traps, booby traps, underwater, to trap and maim people who are trying to get here to live a better life. That's not who we are. We are better than that. And we know that that is wrong. That's why I'm so proud of the work that the Texas AFL-CIO has done on the issues of immigration, providing a clear voice that includes all workers, including immigrant workers. Why I'm proud that at this convention we're going to be launching our new Texas Immigrant Workers Project to expand and broaden the work that we do to help legal permanent residents become citizens. We've helped over 2,000 people become citizens over the life of our project, and we're fixing to do that even more. But there's so many ways that we can help our immigrant members and their families, and we're going to be looking at that. Our project is a direct and tangible way to say to the world, we will not be divided in the Texas labor movement based on where you come from or who you are. We are a movement of all workers. And one more set of issues that I want to talk about. And this is a tougher issue for many of us to have a conversation about, but I think it's really important that we do. In this last legislative session, we saw some really vicious attacks on transgender children in Texas. 5 years ago, I don't think anybody could say that the main problem in their life was children getting health care to help them transition in terms of their own sexual and gender identity. It didn't affect you. But there was a conscious decision to use that issue to scare us and to divide us. And they ginned this up out of nothing and attacked kids who were only trying to live their full lives and their full selves. And that dominated the news. Everybody heard about it, right? You heard what was happening in Austin, denying medical care to kids, taking away what we can teach in the schools, banning books because they didn't reflect a certain narrow ideology. But the United Labor Legislative Committee and the unions of the Texas AFL-CIO took a strong stand against that division. And frankly, I've never been prouder of our movement. Our lobbyists, both ourselves and our affiliates, were at the Capitol. I want a special shout out to the teachers who were there. And said to the state government, that's none of your business. Focus on what's important. Focus on health care. Focus on jobs. Focus on education. And when kids and families were at the Capitol fighting for their very right to exist, they looked out in the audience and they saw labor union members there supporting them. And you could see it in their eyes that they weren't alone, that the labor movement showed up with a different vision of Texas. And that was a powerful moment. People say don't talk about that. Union members don't want to be divided because of that issue. And I understand that because I know that we all have very different views about a lot of things like that. But here's the thing. We have to talk about it. Because whether we talk about it or not, they're going to continue to talk about it to divide us. And unless we can come to terms with ourselves as a movement about standing for unity and standing for every person's individual right to exist, then we're going to continue to be divided. Solidarity means, sometimes it means standing on a picket line. Sometimes it means sitting with the people that you have something in common with and figuring out how you're going to move forward even when you have disagreements. And that's how we keep building together, and that's how we organize and rise. So I'm fixing to shut up. But I just want to pause for one more moment and say what an amazing moment this is that we're in. When I was first took on this job maybe 6 or so years ago, I talked about the fact that I was haunted by the question, in this pivotal moment, what did I do? Who did I stand with? What did I stand for? Who did I march with? I talked about my concern that, like, when our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren asked us, what did we do during this time? Will they be so proud at our commitment to the struggle for justice? Or will they be embarrassed and appalled by the ineffectiveness of our response? So let me ask you this. Delegates to the Texas AFL-CIO Constitutional Convention, are you ready to put it on the line to organize and build a powerful union movement in the state of Texas? Are you ready to fight to save our planet and create a new wave of union jobs in the state of Texas? Are you ready to block walk and phone bank and do whatever has to be done to make this state a state that cares about and for working people? Are you ready to stand up and say that we reject racism and discrimination and division in all of its ugly forms? And are you ready to stand up and fight for every single working person in this state to have a fair shot at achieving their dreams? Because now's when I get to be a broken record. It's hard work doing union work in Texas. It's hard work. You look around, the cavalry is not there a lot of time. But it is such a gift to be able to do it together. Because if we can change and build our movement here in Texas, and we can change Texas, we change this country forever. Who gets to do that? And if we can change this country, we change the world. Who gets to do that? Who gets that to be their work? To come together with working people from around this state and literally change the world. So, delegates, thank you for choosing to be here. Thank you for your work. Let's go do this. Thank you very much. Okay, we're adjourned. Let's go.